Board of Directors for the Child Advocacy Center. We want to say welcome and thank you for being here as we recognize children who are no longer with us. Now it's my privilege to introduce to you Ms. Cheryl Walker, who is our Executive Director of the Child Advocacy Center.
Okay, I'm going to speak loud so y'all can hear me, maybe, because we don't have a speaker out here today. Child Help is an agency that works with children, and they report that 1,580 children die in the United States as a result of abuse and neglect each year. That is between 4 and 5 a day. Studies indicate that state agencies significantly undercount the number of maltreatments that families have and the fatalities of those by more than 50%. That is roughly 1/4 of your child's elementary school class. So think about that. More than 70% of the children who died as a result of child abuse or neglect were 2 years of age or younger. More than 80% were not yet old enough for kindergarten. Around 80% of child maltreatment fatalities involve at least one parent. Isn't that sad? Parents abusing and killing their children. In 2014, in Houston County, 6 children died from abuse and neglect. In 2016, there was 11 children who died in Houston County. These numbers are staggering and shocking to all of us who love children and our grandchildren. Over 25 years ago, a tragedy happened in Houston County. A little girl was killed by her mother's boyfriend. Doug Valeska was our newly elected district attorney. Although this child died, it was his hope and the hope of others involved in this horrific crime that no other child would ever die at the hands of an abuser in Houston County and Henry County. He, along with others in our community, saw a need for the Child Advocacy Center. Over the past 20 years, more than 15,000 children victims of abuse have come through our doors to tell the traumatic stories of the events that they've endured. Although these children have survived their abuse, they are alive and are able to seek help. However, the sad reality is that many children die without ever having their voices heard. When death results at the hands of an offender, it is the ultimate form of child abuse. We stand together today to say this is not acceptable in Houston and Henry County. Today is a special day for us to stop and remember those children who are no longer with us. For those of you who have lost a child due to sickness or an accident, I cannot imagine your pain. For those of you who have lost a child due to abuse and neglect, the pain must be indescribable, with no words to express how you must feel. Steve Hardwood was a member of the SAD Board of Directors in our early years. He had a heart for helping children and served faithfully on our board. During the past few years, he has shown his passion and commitment for helping hurting children. This is evident through the Statue of Hope here, the Angel of Hope statue. And I'm glad to call him my friend. We've stayed in touch for 25 years, and I've watched him go through a lot of things, and I admire his commitment to really making a difference in this community. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. The blue ribbon is a symbol of the protection of children. It's a national campaign, something that the CAC started doing to emphasize child abuse and neglect 23 years ago. It symbolizes the bruises on a child's body, but it also symbolizes this beautiful blue sky. And we are so blessed today to be out here in this beautiful place paying tribute to these children. The blue ribbon is a hope that no other child will ever be abused. It was started by a grandmother in Kentucky, and her grandson had been killed, and she wanted nobody else to experience that pain. What an honor for the CAC and all of us to join with Steve today as we place blue ribbons around this wonderful tribute to children. And I have asked a few people to put the ribbons out for us. If y'all will do that now. And Steve, if you would come up and just say a few words, please.
I'm not a speaker, so I'll just
wing it. But I want to tell you how special it is. And I want to thank Cheryl and the Child Advocacy Center for coming out here. And I want to especially tell all the people in law enforcement, I know that y'all are the ones who have to deal with the investigations of when a child is abused or neglected. I want to thank all of y'all for coming out here as well. Cheryl had made a comment that for the little children whose voices were never heard, and to me, that's what the Angel of Hope is to me. Is it not just for those children, but for every child who's no longer here, that that this speaks for them, that their voices will always be heard, and that they'll always be remembered. And I'd like to thank Gail, and I'd like to thank Steve and Beth, Karen, and Kathleen for all being here, part of the board with the Firegrass Angel of Hope. So thank y'all for coming, and I want to tell you how much that means to me.
I've never lost a child, so I don't know what this feels like for that. I've lost a parent. But you know, grief is something that is so personal. And when Steve and I talked about this, I thought it was his idea, which I think is a wonderful idea, because we're always out there promoting the voices of the children that are alive. But what better way than during April Child Abuse Prevention Month to stand together and say all children are important. It doesn't matter how. They have lives that are taken way too young for whatever reason, and they always leave that empty chair at our table. And your parents, your hearts are always have that hole. I know that. And my heart just goes out to you today. So in closing, we want to have a prayer, a responsive reading, and we wanted y'all to participate. I've asked Grace if she'll come up and lead this prayer. And what you will do is, she'll tell y'all what to do.
Well, it's a responsive reading, so if you'll just read the part in red, I'll follow with the part in black. And this is a prayer for all of our children.
We pray for children
Who sneak popsicles before supper, who erase holes in math workbooks, who can never find their shoes.
We pray for those
Who stare at photographers from behind barbed wire, who can't bound down the street in a new pair of sneakers, who never counted potatoes, who are born in places we wouldn't be caught dead, who never go to the circus, who live in an X-rated world.
We pray for children
Who bring us sticky kisses and fistfuls of dandelions, who hug us in a hurry and forget their lunch money,
and we pray for those
who never get dessert, who have no safety blanket to drag behind them, who watch their parents watch them die, who can't find any bread to steal, who don't have any rooms to clean up, whose pictures aren't on anybody's dresser, whose monsters are real.
We pray for children
Who spend all their allowance before Tuesday, who throw tantrums in the grocery store and pick at their food, who like ghost stories, who shove dirty clothes under the bed, never rinse out the tub, who get visits from the tooth fairy, who don't like to be kissed in front of the carpool, who squirm in church or temple and scream in the phone, whose tears we sometimes laugh at, and whose smiles can make us cry.
and we pray for children
Whose nightmares come in the daytime, who will eat anything, who have never seen a dentist, who aren't spoiled by anybody, who go to bed hungry and cry themselves to sleep, who live and move but have no being.
We
pray for children who want to be cared
And for those who most, and for those we never give up, and for those who don't get a second chance,
for those
mother and for those
who will grab the hand of anybody kind enough to offer it. We pray for these children.
listen. Do you hear their silent cries? Thank y'all for coming. Stick around and get some pictures. Our hearts are with you, and I think we'll be doing this next year again. So to honor our children and to bring light to this problem of child abuse and neglect, and that children are valuable, and we stand together today saying that. So thank y'all so much for coming.